What if I told you that the person you think you are, the one who laughs, dreams, and works, might not be the real you? What if this you is just a mask, a performance? And what if Friedrich Nietzsche, one of the most radical minds in philosophy, left us a way out of this trap? This isn't just about philosophy. It's about your life, your freedom, and who you're meant to be. Let's start from the beginning. When we're born, we are pure potential. A child doesn't question whether they're good enough, whether they're loved, or whether their actions are being judged. A child simply is. But as we grow, something changes. Slowly, the world begins to shape us. Parents, teachers, friends, the media, society, they all start telling us who we are, what is good, what is bad, what is acceptable, and what is not. At first, we don't notice this shaping. We adapt naturally because we want to fit in. And fitting in feels good. It means safety, belonging, and approval. But as Nietzsche warned, this is where the trap begins. By fitting into the world's expectations, we begin to lose parts of ourselves. We trade authenticity for acceptance. Nietzsche called this the creation of the herd morality. The herd is society, culture, the collective. It teaches us to conform to its values, its norms, and its rules. And let's be honest, the herd rewards conformity. When you follow its rules, you're praised, admired, and included. When you don't, you risk rejection, punishment, or even exile. But here's the problem: the herd doesn't care about you as an individual. Its goal is to maintain order, not to help you thrive. The values of the herd, things like obedience, humility, and mediocrity, are designed to keep people manageable. They're not designed to help you become who you truly are. So what happens? Over time, you build a version of yourself that aligns with what the herd wants. This is what Nietzsche called the slave mentality. It's a way of living where you suppress your true desires, instincts, and individuality in order to fit in. Maybe you chose a career because it was safe, not because it excited you. Maybe you act a certain way around others because you're afraid of being judged. Maybe you've spent years chasing goals that don't even feel like yours.
Click subscribe to this channel to get more profound insights.
The truth is, most of us live as slaves to the herd without even realizing it. We think we're free because we make choices every day. But how many of those choices are truly ours? How many are just echoes of what society has told us to want? Let me ask you something. When was the last time you made a decision, big or small, that felt 100% like you? Not what your friends or family wanted. Not what society said was right, but something that came from deep inside you, from a place that felt raw and real. If it's been a while, or if you can't even remember, then it's possible you're caught in the fake self trap. It's not your fault. The world conditions us to play this game from the moment we're born. And the fake self is seductive. It feels safe. It feels comfortable. But deep down, it leaves us feeling empty. Nietzsche understood this emptiness better than anyone. He saw it everywhere, in religion, in politics, in culture. He believed that humanity had created systems to avoid facing the terrifying truth of existence, that we are alone, that life has no inherent meaning, and that we must create meaning for ourselves. This is where Nietzsche's philosophy becomes so powerful. He didn't want us to stay trapped in this fake self. He wanted us to break free. And he believed the way to do this was by embracing what he called the will to power. The will to power is not about dominating others. It's about mastering yourself. It's about reclaiming your individuality and creating a life that reflects your deepest values and desires. It's about becoming what Nietzsche called the Übermensch, or the Overman. The Übermensch is someone who has transcended the herd. They don't live according to society's rules, they create their own. They don't seek validation from others, they find meaning within themselves. They don't ask, what should I do? They ask, what do I want to create? But here's the catch: becoming the Übermensch is not easy. It requires courage. It requires you to face your fears, your doubts, and your insecurities. It requires you to look at the mask you've been wearing, the fake self, and rip it off, even if it hurts. So how do we begin this process? How do we escape the fake self trap? Nietzsche's answer lies in a single radical idea you must destroy in order to create. This might sound extreme, but think about it. Every major transformation in life requires destruction. A seed must break open to become a tree. A caterpillar must dissolve into chaos to become a butterfly. In the same way, you must destroy the parts of yourself that no longer serve you in order to discover who you truly are. But destruction doesn't mean chaos for the sake of chaos. Nietzsche wasn't telling us to burn our lives to the ground. He was telling us to examine every part of ourselves, our beliefs, our values, our habits, and ask, is this truly mine? Or is this something the herd has given me? And here's where it gets challenging. When you begin to question these things, you'll realize how much of your identity has been borrowed. Maybe you believe in certain ideas because they were passed down by your family. Maybe you pursue certain goals because they're what society says are successful. Maybe you suppress certain parts of yourself because you're afraid of being judged. But what if you let go of all that? What if you gave yourself permission to rebuild your identity from the ground up, based not on what others want, but on what you want? This is the essence of Nietzsche's philosophy. It's not about rejecting the herd just to be rebellious. It's about reclaiming your power as an individual. It's about recognizing that you are the creator of your own life. So let me ask you again, who are you really? Not the version of you that society sees. Not the version of you that your parents, friends, or coworkers know, but the version of you that exists deep down beneath all the layers of conditioning. Let's not sugarcoat it. Tearing down the fake self isn't just uncomfortable, it's terrifying. The fake self gives you structure, even if it's a structure built on lies. It tells you how to act, what to want, and where you fit in. But once you start dismantling it, what's left? For most people, the idea of not knowing who they are is unbearable. That's why so many cling to the mask, even when it suffocates them. Nietzsche believed that this fear of destruction, the fear of letting go, is what keeps most people trapped in mediocrity. They want freedom, but they also want safety. They want to be authentic, but they're terrified of what that authenticity might cost them. Here's the hard truth: if you want to reclaim your true self, you need to destroy everything that isn't real. Nietzsche described this process as a kind of creative destruction. It's not about tearing everything down for the sake of chaos. It's about clearing the ground so something new and real can grow. Think about a forest fire. At first, it looks like pure devastation. Trees reduced to ash, life scorched away. But that fire makes space for new growth. It enriches the soil. Over time, life returns stronger, more vibrant, more alive. Nietzsche believed we had to do the same thing with our lives. We have to burn away the hollow parts, the borrowed beliefs, the expectations that don't belong to us, and make space for something better. But how do we do that? How do we know what to destroy? Nietzsche's answer was simple, but not easy. You destroy anything that makes you small, anything that shrinks your individuality, that tells you to obey without question, that demands you conform at the expense of your instincts. You start by questioning the rules you've been told to follow, not blindly, but with ruthless honesty. Take a moment and look at your life. Every rule you live by, whether it's about success, love, morality, or happiness, has been handed to you by someone else. Society, religion, family, culture. Have you ever stopped to ask where those rules came from? Who made them? And more importantly, who benefits from you following them? Nietzsche would argue that most of these rules exist to keep the herd in line. They're not designed to help you thrive. They're designed to make you predictable, manageable, and easy to control. For example, think about the idea of success. For most people, success means climbing the ladder, getting the degree, the job, the house, the car. But whose definition of success is that? Did you choose it, or was it handed to you by a society that profits from your endless striving? Or take morality. You've been told certain things are good and others are bad. But who decided that, and why? Nietzsche believed that much of what we call morality is nothing more than a tool of control. It's a way to keep individuals in line by making them feel guilty for following their instincts. This is where Nietzsche's philosophy becomes radical. He wasn't telling us to reject all rules or abandon all morality. He was telling us to create our own, not to destroy for the sake of destruction, but to build something truly ours. But let's not pretend this is easy. Nietzsche knew that breaking free from the herd isn't just an intellectual exercise. It's a battle. The herd doesn't want you to leave. It wants you to stay safe, stay small, stay obedient, and even if the herd doesn't stop you, your own fear might. So here's the challenge: are you willing to risk rejection? Are you willing to be misunderstood? Are you willing to stand alone? Because that's the price of freedom. Freedom isn't comfortable. It's not easy. It's the willingness to face uncertainty, to walk away from the familiar, to create meaning in a world that doesn't hand it to you. Most people aren't willing to pay that price. They'd rather stay in the fake self-trap, convincing themselves they're happy even as their soul withers. But for those who are willing, Nietzsche believed the reward was immense. He called it the overcoming. When you destroy the fake self, you don't just return to who you were before. You become something entirely new, something stronger, something more real. Let me ask you, what would your life look like if you stopped trying to fit in? If you stopped chasing goals that aren't yours? If you stopped apologizing for wanting more? Here's where Nietzsche's philosophy becomes brutally practical. He didn't believe in sitting around waiting for inspiration. He believed in action. Real change doesn't come from thinking about it, it comes from doing it. Start small. Look at one part of your life, just one, where you feel stuck, fake, or unfulfilled. Maybe it's your job. Maybe it's a relationship. Maybe it's the way you spend your time. Ask yourself, what would I do if I wasn't afraid? And then take one step. Quit the job. End the relationship. Try something new. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be forever. But it has to be real. Nietzsche believed that every act of destruction is also an act of creation. When you say no to the fake self, you're saying yes to something deeper, something more alive. But here's the catch: creation isn't a one-time thing. The fake self doesn't disappear overnight. It's a process. Every day you have to choose. Every day you have to ask, am I living for myself or for the herd? And every day the herd will try to pull you back. It will tell you that you're selfish, that you're wrong, that you're going to fail. But Nietzsche believed that the more you listen to your instincts, the stronger they become. The more you trust yourself, the louder your true voice grows. So what are you waiting for? The fake self is comfortable, yes, but it's also a prison. And the key to escaping it has been in your hands all along. When Nietzsche described the Overman, he wasn't talking about perfection. He wasn't describing someone who has it all figured out. The Overman is raw, evolving, and constantly creating themselves. They don't settle for what life hands them, they demand more. Not from the world, but from themselves. But here's the thing, the Overman isn't some distant ideal or unreachable goal. It's a process. It's what happens when you stop living passively and start taking responsibility for your existence. Nietzsche believed that life didn't owe us meaning. It was up to us to invent it. Think about it every time you accept a life that doesn't feel true. Every time you silence your instincts to please others, you're choosing to remain small. The Overman choose differently. They reject the easy path. They don't ask, what do people expect of me? They ask, what kind of person do I want to become? And this isn't about chasing happiness. Nietzsche didn't believe in happiness as a goal. He believed in power, not power over others, but power over yourself. The power to face your fears, the power to endure discomfort, the power to create a life so real and so true that it sets you on fire. But let's not pretend it's simple. Becoming more than who you are means facing everything you've been avoiding. Your fears, your failures, your weaknesses. Nietzsche called this Amor Fati, the love of your fate. It's the idea that instead of running from your struggles, you embrace them. You see every challenge, every setback, as fuel for growth. Ask yourself this: what if every difficult moment in your life wasn't something to escape, but something to use? What if your pain wasn't holding you back, but sharpening you into something stronger? The Overman doesn't just survive life. They transform it. Every choice, every action, every moment becomes a chance to create. This is the ultimate escape from the fake self-trap, not just to become who you are, but to become more. So the question is simple: will you keep living as the version of yourself the world expects? Or will you step into the chaos and create something extraordinary? The choice is yours.